First, I really need to find a better way to do this, man. Started the dryer. Damn. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Amber Reacts, the show about reacting to reactionaries. Tonight, we're taking a look at Tim Pool. Basically, I just want to see what he has to say about the administration so far, plus a little bit of, just how the old man did at the G7 summit this past weekend, I suppose. The segment begins with Tim giving his opening monologue, in which he recounts a clip posted to Twitter of Joe walking through a public cafeteria, looking a bit confused, essentially being a senile old man. Tim is unable, however, to verify whether or not Mr. Biden should have even been there. He probably thinks it's like some sort of press jacket, or it could have been something completely public. Who knows? He's unable to verify that. However, he is quick to point out that when conservative outlets made similar kind of health-concerned questions about Hillary Clinton, well, they had this to say.
The media said they were liars.
He then continues to sophomorically mock Mr. Biden's health and postulates,
"What do you think our adversaries are saying? I'd love to live in a world where everything's candy canes and rainbows and there's no war or conflict. But we are in that reality. There is war, there is conflict, and it's happening right now, albeit it is mostly cyber warfare, which is why Joe Biden's comments are kind of alarming. But there's also fear that these hacks that we're seeing, the Colonial Pipeline getting hacked, the JBS meat supplies, now we're seeing a plant, I believe, in New Jersey, I'm not entirely sure, blowing up.
Did you catch it? I'll forgive you if you hadn't. But at this point, I have to admit, my interest is captivated. Can't really explain it. It's just kind of a Jersey thing. Besides, if an industrial plant near me exploded, I'd really like to know about it. So I decided to type in New Jersey industrial plant explodes and got this. The recycling plant fire. I remember when this happened. It was back in January. If you listen to Tim, it's kind of like, the thing happened fairly recently. So I thought to myself, this can't be exactly what Tim was meaning. Kind of had to translate for him a little bit there. Tim couldn't have possibly conflated this with the cyber warfare efforts enacted by Besides, Tim couldn't have possibly conflated the cyberware efforts. Tim couldn't have possibly conflated this with enacted by foreign interest hacking groups. Tim couldn't have possibly conflated this with the cyberware attacks that have been happening by, foreign internet hacking, foreign interest hacker groups. Tim couldn't have possibly conflated this with the cyber warfare efforts enacted by foreign interest hacker groups. So, with a little bit of intuition, I had to clarify for myself that Tim most likely meant this. The chem tool plant explosion in Rockton, Illinois. Now, the sources I've gathered on this have ranged from NPR to CBS to NBC, hell, even the New York Post. All of these, if they mention it at all, make it fairly clear that the cause of this explosion is still under investigation. However, Tim being Tim, he is a superior intelligence after all, he's already go ahead and made that link foreign hacking, continuing his diatribe with an appeal to Trump's disposition during his term, because I have to agree with this, at the very least, you were afraid of what the man was capable of. Don't mess with America. After a brief moment of self-promotion, Tim continues his attack on Joe Biden's mental health by espousing his doubt. He mimics the president with,
Joe Biden might come out and say something like, we got Russia, Putin, and Putin is bad. We got to stand up to Russia. He'll say it just like that.
He then reads the article almost in its entirety, coming to the conclusion that he isn't mocking President Biden, of course. He's just worried, as Americans, we'll look weak on the global political stage if Joe is allowed to just, doddle around like a senile old man. We really should be concerned with how we could be taken advantage of. If the White House has to consistently clarify after Joe, I'll let Tim say this next part in a truly inspired segment of reporting.
Just Google search, White House clarifies. And how many times in the past few months has the White House had to clarify things that Joe Biden said? Here's the New York Post on March 17th. Biden tax hike could hit people earning $200K. White House clarifies. At least one day a week, White House clarifies Biden's goal. From February 9th. February 6th, Trump's access to sensitive briefings will be determined by intelligence officials. White House clarifies. I don't think that one's necessarily about Joe Biden.
Trump isn't even in the White House anymore, and he's still making the top 3. Isn't that just an that's just an awe-striking display. He he follows this up with some unconfirmed reports of Justin Trudeau making his thoughts about the situation known by reading a tweet.
Or, I'm sorry, a White House official overheard Trudeau saying Kamala will be president.
Then he continues on to this article.
From the Boston Herald, Howie Carr, weekend at Biden's becomes Joe Biden's European vacation.
Which he reads in its entirety, and let me tell you, it's quite the cut-up. Really gives old dementia Joe the what for, and I say this because if there's one thing we need to recognize, it is...
But Joe Biden making a bunch of gaffes does bubble over into something more worrisome. Of course, we've seen the White House is willing to clarify, and that's why he gets in trouble when he bumbles around and says these things. So who cares? Okay, first and foremost, his staff. That's managing the poor man who has no idea what's going on.
This is followed up with an article by the New York Post.
White House walks back Biden comments on cyber criminal swap with Russia. Are you kidding me?
It says nothing. It literally says nothing. I have seen and read weedier takedowns written by Ryan Lochte.
If you were a woman coming up to you, this is an odd premise.
What kind of question is this?
No, what would get to you? What kind of line could somebody say? What would get your attention?
Riveting. Anyway, this doesn't stop Tim from assessing that Joe will hurt America because old folks, man, you know what I mean? If I know one thing, it's that the strong will always eat the weak. Sadly, this is confirmed when Tim continues with an article from the Daily Caller that reads,
Visibly confused, tired-looking Joe Biden mixes up Libya, Syria 3 times.
hindsight is always 2020. In these situations in particular, it's always in the left's best interest to protect its own, because as we all know, political parties will only protect their own self-interests, and
they sacrifice the rest of us.
Follows this up by reading one of Biden's more famous quotes.
How about this quote? Let me read for you. One of the most famous Joe Biden quotes ever.
You look at the nuclear deal, the thing that really bothers me. It would have been so easy, and it's not as important as these lives are. Nuclear is so powerful. My uncle explained that to me many, many years ago, the power, and that was 35 years ago. He would explain the power of what's going to happen, and he was right. Who would have thought? But when you look at what's going on with the 4 prisoners, now it used to be 3, now it's 4, but when it was 3, and even now, I would have said, it's all in the measure. Fellas, and it is fellas, because, you know, they haven't figured that the women are smarter right now than the men, so you know, it's going to take them about another 150 years, but the Persians are great negotiators, the Iranians are great negotiators, so, and they just killed us.
And it is at this point we get to the real meat of the conversation. The reason for the season, as it were. Tim claims that back during the Trump administration, Nancy Pelosi, acting with the power vested to her by the authority of Congress under...
I believe it's the 25th Amendment that says Congress shall, they can choose who decides, and Nancy Pelosi made this panel. And at the time, people were like, they're trying to remove Trump. Pelosi assured us she wasn't. And then people realized it. She's trying to remove Biden before he even gets elected. That's right, that's the plan.
With this stated, he rather determinedly rebukes Kamala Harris's ability to lead our country, and when Kamala becomes president, and don't you think otherwise, according to him, on that day, it'll be a great victory for the right, because Kamala's policies are trash. To all this, I really only have one question. What would you like to see, Tim? Feel free to get back to me at your earliest convenience. I mean, I'm really kind of a nobody, and I know you're a busy person, so again, take your time. For the rest of you out there, thank you for your time. Please like and subscribe. If you like this, please leave a comment down below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And, well, enjoy yourself. And with that, I will leave you with one more quote. Enjoy.
Trump was bad. They didn't like Trump. And, some of these reasons they have for not liking Trump, they're legit, but a lot of fake reasons, a lot of lies and smears in the media.